Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. If you love discovering hidden treasures, incredible stories, and the unbelievable secrets that can be hiding in everyday pocket change, then you are absolutely in the right place. Today's video is going to take you deep into the fascinating world of one of the most talked about and mysterious coins in American history. We're going to explore how a simple 1957 1-cent USA coin, a penny most people would overlook without a second thought, has captured attention with stories of being worth as much as $443 million due to rare errors, unusual mistakes, mint mark mysteries, and astonishing possibilities that continue to fuel excitement among collectors and treasure hunters around the world. At first glance, the 1957 1-cent coin looks ordinary. It is small, copper-colored, and familiar to anyone who has ever handled American currency. Millions of these pennies were produced, passed from hand to hand, dropped into jars, lost under couches, and spent without hesitation. Yet history has a strange way of hiding extraordinary value in the most common places. The idea that a single penny from 1957 could be worth more than luxury mansions, private jets, or entire companies sounds impossible, and yet this is exactly what makes the story so captivating. The value doesn't come from the face value, of course, but from a perfect storm of rare circumstances, production anomalies, human error, and the endless fascination of collectors who are always searching for the next once-in-a-lifetime discovery. To understand why the 1957 1-cent coin is so special, it helps to understand the era in which it was made. The United States in the late 1950s was a nation in transition. Post-war optimism was high, industry was booming, and the U.S. Mint was producing enormous quantities of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. Pennies were being struck at an incredible pace, often under intense pressure to meet circulation needs. When production scales reach such massive levels, the chances of mistakes increase. Dies wear out, planchets mix, machines malfunction, and human oversight becomes stretched thin. All of these factors contribute to the possibility of rare errors slipping through quality control and entering circulation unnoticed. The 1957 1-cent coin features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that had already been in use for nearly half a century. By this time, the Lincoln cent was a symbol of stability and continuity in American coinage. On the reverse, the familiar wheat ears design was still present, making the 1957 penny part of the beloved wheat cent series that would end just a year later in 1958. This alone gives the coin historical importance, as it represents one of the final chapters of a classic design that collectors cherish. But historical significance is only the beginning of what makes certain 1957 pennies extraordinarily valuable. One of the most important factors behind the extreme value associated with some 1957 1-cent coins is minting errors. Minting errors are not all created equal. Some are common and add little to no value, while others are so rare and dramatic that they transform an ordinary coin into a legendary artifact. Errors can occur at any stage of the minting process, from the preparation of the metal blanks to the striking of the coin itself. In 1957, with production running at full speed, the environment was ripe for mistakes that could go unnoticed until years or even decades later. One category of error that plays a major role in the legendary value of the 1957 penny is the double die error. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives a misaligned impression during its creation. When this flawed die is then used to strike coins, certain design elements appear doubled, sometimes subtly, and sometimes dramatically. On a 1957 penny, doubling might be visible on Lincoln's date, his profile, or the lettering. In extreme cases, the doubling can be so bold that it is unmistakable even to the naked eye. A strong double die error from 1957, especially one that affects multiple areas of the coin, can be extraordinarily rare. If such a coin were discovered in pristine condition, with clear doubling and impeccable preservation, it could command astronomical interest. Another critical error that fuels the legend of the $443 million valuation is the possibility of off-metal strikes. During the minting process, planchets intended for different denominations or even different metals could sometimes find their way into the wrong production line. Imagine a 1957 penny struck not on a standard copper planchet, but on a planchet intended for a different coin, such as a silver or experimental alloy. The weight, color, and composition of such a coin would immediately stand out, making it an object of intense scrutiny and fascination. Off-metal errors are among the most sought-after mint errors in the world, and when combined with an already historically significant year, their value can skyrocket beyond conventional limits. The idea of transitional errors also plays a major role in the mystique surrounding the 1957 1-cent. Transitional errors occur when a coin is struck using a design, metal composition, or die intended for a different year. The late 1950s were a time of change in U.S. coinage, and any evidence of experimentation or overlap in materials could produce coins that should not exist according to official records. A 1957 penny struck on an experimental planchet, or with design elements intended for another year, would be considered a numismatic anomaly of the highest order. Such a discovery would challenge established understanding and ignite fierce competition among collectors and institutions. Mint mark errors further add to the intrigue. In 1957, pennies were primarily struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with Philadelphia coins traditionally lacking a mint mark. Errors involving mint marks can include missing mint marks, repunched mint marks, or mint marks appearing in incorrect positions. A 1957 penny with a dramatically misplaced or doubled mint mark could represent a unique combination of rarity and visual appeal. When such errors are paired with exceptional condition, their desirability increases exponentially. Condition is another essential piece of the puzzle. Even the rarest error can lose significant value if the coin is heavily worn or damaged. The most valuable coins are often those that somehow escaped circulation and remained in near-perfect or flawless condition. A 1957 penny with a major error that has sharp details, original luster, and minimal contact marks would be considered a miracle of preservation. The idea that such a coin could survive unnoticed for decades adds to its allure and fuels speculation about its ultimate value. The concept of provenance also contributes to the staggering valuations sometimes associated with legendary coins. If a 1957 penny with extraordinary errors were discovered and its history could be traced, authenticated, and verified by leading experts, its story would become part of its value. Coins with well-documented origins, especially those tied to famous collections or historic discoveries, often command premiums far beyond their intrinsic characteristics. A coin that can be proven to be unique, or one of only a handful known examples, becomes more than just a collectible. It becomes a piece of history. The number $443 million may sound unbelievable, and in many ways it is meant to capture the imagination rather than reflect a routine market price. Such valuations are often discussed in the context of hypothetical scenarios where multiple layers of rarity, error, condition, and historical importance converge into a single object. If a 1957 1-cent coin were discovered that combined a dramatic double die, an off-metal strike, a transitional composition, a rare mint mark error, and perfect preservation, it would stand alone in the numismatic world. In such a scenario, traditional pricing models would no longer apply. The value would be determined by what the wealthiest collectors, museums, or institutions would be willing to pay for a once-in-human-history artifact. The psychology of collectors also plays a significant role in driving extreme valuations. High-end numismatics is not just about metal and design, it is about passion, competition, and the desire to own something no one else can. When collectors reach a certain level of wealth, the price becomes secondary to the prestige and significance of ownership. A unique 1957 penny with unprecedented errors could become the crown jewel of any collection, sparking bidding wars that push its value into unimaginable territory. Another factor that cannot be ignored is the power of storytelling. Coins with legendary status often owe part of their value to the stories surrounding them. The idea that a simple penny, something so ordinary, could secretly be worth hundreds of millions of dollars resonates deeply with people. It represents hope, surprise, and the possibility that extraordinary things can be hiding in plain sight. This narrative amplifies interest and ensures that coins like the 1957 1-cent remain at the center of attention long after